Okay, today's video is about risers. I'm going to give you dimensions, how you can make your own riser. So when you look around in my arcade, you can see, I've got different versions of the cabinets. Like this asteroid centipede, it's got one of the arcade1up bases, and then I built a 4-inch booster. That brings it up to 41.5 approximately deck height. Okay. Obviously different cabinets, you're going to get a different height out of it. Some of these are 41.5, some of them come up to 41.75. It just depends a lot on the cabinet, because not all the cabinets are the same. That's a factory 1-up riser, and then you got my 4-inch booster under there. Tron I haven't done anything with. Space Invaders again, factory with the 4-inch booster I built. Same with Ninja Turtles, 4-inch booster. So it brings them all to around 41.5 to 41.75, give or take. This Simpsons actually looks like it's a bit taller, so that might even be 42. I don't think I need the flash on. So this is to try and get these up to more of an adult height than a child height. So that looks like about 42.5. So like I said, depending on the actual machine, it tends to make a difference, because not all the machines are made identical. So on this Mortal Kombat, this one was my first attempt at making an inline riser myself. So what I can do is I can give you dimensions and show you how I did this one inside. We also did this Rampage. This is my second attempt at an inline riser. On this machine, I actually cut some of the bottom of the machine off to get rid of the curves at the corners. That way it's flat on flat. I don't remember how much I cut off. I'm thinking it was 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. It may have been more. And this one I just left the front completely open, because otherwise it's dead space, and I needed a home for my pet monster anyway, so that way he can just chill in there and play video games. Now, on this one, obviously, I was using my brain more. I also took the little plastic feet are not on the machine. I believe I did put them on the bottom of here, because obviously if you have this sitting on a hard surface, you don't want the panels sitting directly on the floor. It can cause damage, moisture wicking up into the material. Now this one here, as you can see, I didn't even take the feet off. So I didn't cut it, I didn't take the feet off. And this one's completely enclosed, which I've been thinking about redoing this one anyway, to open up the front like the other one. Outrun over here, I did an outrun riser, and I made it 8 inches. It seems to be the perfect height. I'm 5'9", so I did not cut the sides of the machine. I simply took the bottom off the machine. I made a side panel the same dimension as the side panel on the machine, front to back. Made it 8 inches tall. And then across the back, I made that panel obviously the same size it needed to be to match the panel above it, the back panel that comes off. We reused the base panel out of the machine, and then you can see we put strips in here, and these strips are screwed to the booster and they're screwed to the machine from the outside going in. This is 1/2-inch material. I used 1/2-inch material, so we use like a 3/4-inch coarse drywall type screw, and then we countersink them. That way they're flush on the outside. So that's this particular one, how I did it. On this one, because it's open like this, people put their foot in. That's why I did the full length on the this panel here, front to back. Other ones, all I did was small pieces going from the bottom to the top, and then again screw the cabinet through the cabinet from the outside into the tab that's on the inside there. Ridge Racer, this is going to get converted into a sit down also. Waiting for my gaming box to come, but this is the how I did the booster on this one. So this one was not a big deal to do the booster. I just made it an inline booster and set it in there, set the machine on top of it instead of having to do any other crazy fancy stuff, and then just paint it black. And the same thing, you can see there's screws here. So there's a wood block in here that's attached to here, and then we screwed into it there. So give me a second to get this pulled out and unscrew the base, and I'll get the cabinet off of the base, and then we will be back and I'll show you how this one was built and give you some measurements that can get you started on making your own inline risers. Okay, we're back. So this here was my first attempt at making a one-piece riser. As you can see, there's no bottom in it. It's reinforced in the corners, things like that. You know, so this can give you an idea of what to do. I used 1/2-inch plywood that we had laying around from other projects. You can see I have tabs here that you can screw into to make it so the cabinet doesn't fall off. Now on this particular one, everything on this one is glued with wood glue, and then it's put together with an air stapler. So this is not all screwed together. I think let me see, the front and back panel is screwed. So we've got a mixture of screws and air nailer staples, or air stapler. The air staplers that do they shoot brads, finish nails, and you can put staples in them, like little horseshoe staples. So that is what we did here. Now, I mean, it's easy enough to make up your own, to make the dimensions, to measure them yourself, but it looks like it's about 19 5/8 front to back. And then the height on this particular one is probably around 16 1/4, 16 3/8. Obviously the height, you can make it whatever you want. You want the cabinet taller, you want it shorter. Basically, you figure out the height that you want the top of the deck, and then measure from the deck to the floor with the cabinet sitting on the floor, and then subtract this dimension from the height that you want it to be. You know, if you want it to be 42 inches high or whatever, and that'll give you the height of the box. Like I said, you're just going to measure the side of the cabinet here, somewhere's in the middle, not down here where it's curved, not up here where it's messed up, somewhere's in the middle. That'll give you the side dimension here. And then the front and back dimension is simply going to be whatever this dimension is across inside here. So it looks like it's around 17 5/8. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it's 17 3/4. That's what it looks like it is, or thereabouts. So you can get your own measurement by just going and measuring across here. We put a brace in here just to keep the wood from bowing, since we didn't put a floor in it. And then obviously we glued nail blocks in the corners down here too, because again, we did not put a floor in it. On the front, when you do the front, see, when you do the sides and the back, you want them flush. But when you do the front needs to be set back. So you want the front to be set back the same as what this is, which I believe was 3/4. The setback appears to be a 1/2 inch. It's hard to read. So this should be set back a 1/2 inch. That way the front of this panel matches the front of this panel. And so that's how we did this one. Like I said, this was the first one that we ever did, and we just figured it out as we went along how we wanted to do it. We didn't put a bottom in it. I obviously could take and remove this front, knock these blocks out of the corners if I wanted to, and this front could become the bottom more or less if I wanted to make this an open cabinet. So I could take this apart and rebuild it a different way if I wanted to. But this gives you an idea of how you can do it. So we can move over to this one. And this one here, like I said, this one here we intentionally left the front open. That way I could let my pet monster live under here. And when we built this one a little different, because some of it's trial and error of how we want this to be. You know, what we want our final product that we want to keep making for other cabinets in the collection over and over again. So on this particular one, we did put a floor in it. The back, as you can see, the back is just a panel going across. This panel it's not very high. This panel is it's 4 inch, and it's set down a little bit. I don't know why we set it down a little bit. There may have been a reason at the time. And then the front panel is also very short. Yeah, that's 1 3/4 inches, which I'm guessing I probably had this pieces laying around. And again, it's set back even with the face of this. And then we have the tabs in here. So, like I said, there's not much to these. The one thing you want to remember to do, again, is remove the little plastic feet. You just grab them with a pair of pliers and just wiggle them and pull, and they come right out. It's literally a piece of plastic with a nail sticking out of it. And then drive it in to the your new side panels on your riser, so that it's not sitting directly on the floor, especially if you have a hard floor, because you can get moisture in the concrete or whatever. Or even if somebody just simply spills something, you don't want the moisture wicking up into your wood, because even with it being painted, if it's just sitting in it, it can still draw it up in there. So again, that shows you basically 3 different ways that I've done the risers. Like I said, on the regular cabinets that have the regular factory riser, we do the booster 4 inches, and that's simple as just copying the dimensions on the riser itself. And then in the middle, we do have something like this going across, because this it's not very tall wood. You're only using 4 inches. So we put something in there to keep it from bowing out. We also reinforce the corners, how these are reinforced. We do something, similar to that in here, in the corners. Which is probably why we built this one this way, because we had built several of the boosters first, and we probably were thinking, well, it's just the same as making the booster, just making it taller. So hopefully there's some information here that you guys feel is useful. Hopefully you get some ideas on how to do this and how simple this actually is, so that you can go get your own material, build your own booster. You know, if you're doing stuff, if you need to make a riser and you need to make several of them because you have several cabinets that you bought that were like this and didn't have come with any riser at all, you know, it's easy to make up to figure out the dimensions, and you can draw it out on a piece of paper. And then once you draw it out on a piece of paper, like 4 foot by 8 foot, which is what a sheet of plywood is, you can figure out where the cuts need to be. You can go to a place like Lowe's or Home Depot, or I'm sure there's other companies out there, but that's just what's local to me. And make sure there's somebody there that can run the saw that day and pull the material you want. If it's half-inch plywood, half-inch MDF, whatever you're going to use, half-inch particle board, and take it over to the saw, and they will cut the cuts for you. So you don't even need a table saw. You don't need a circular saw. Now, obviously, to make these little pieces like this, you know, you're going to have to be able to cut those yourself. But as far as the big panels go, they will cut them for you. Just make sure they are cutting the correct size that you're asking for. Because if they're measuring on the wrong side of the blade, because they're using the marks that are on the cutting wall that they have, you will lose the thickness of the blade and all the material will be cut too small. So always make sure when you're getting stuff cut that it's actually getting cut to the size that you're asking for. Take a tape measure with you, whatever. Okay? Again, hopefully you guys find this useful. Until next time, like and subscribe.